This is Senator Vin Gopal. You're watching Made in New Jersey. Today we have two outstanding guests, Adam Philipson, CEO and President of the Count Basie Center for the Arts, and Kevin Garrison, founder of the Blessing Bag Brigade. Here on Made in New Jersey, we feature incredible organizations and two today. Stick with us and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you for watching Made in New Jersey. I am now joined by Adam Philipson, the CEO and President of the Count Basie Center for the Arts. Thank you so much for joining us.
Vin, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about it? I know a lot of people watching are already familiar with Count Basie. I'm sure they've driven by in Red Bank, but can you tell us a little bit about it and the history and how we're here today?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, so the Basie originally was the Carlton. It was Walter Reed, so that was a movie house, also a vaudeville house. Lots of Walter Reed theaters throughout the state. And some in Brooklyn and some in New York. It's kind of like the Lowe's of its time. It was built in 1926. And then most of these theaters, you know, these kind of state theaters that were touring artists and showing world premieres of movies, they sort of met the wrecking ball over the next, half century. And not very many have remained. But the Basie did. But it was actually about to close in the 80s, and it was resurrected by the Monmouth County Arts Council, of all places, because these very concerned artists and musicians wanted to resurrect this beautiful historic venue. And so they were able to take it over. For a while, it was called the Monmouth County Theater and the Monmouth County Arts Center. And then later on, in about the late 80s, there was a thought that maybe a professional organization should be running it. Just there was so much that needed to happen and disrepair of the venue. So they were able to help create the Count Basie Theater Incorporated, and then through a divestiture agreement actually gave the theater to that nonprofit organization. But right before that happened, Count Basie, who himself lived in Red Bank. He was sick, and his family had agreed that the theater could be renamed, and so it was called the Count Basie Theater for some time, which has since changed. The theater itself name has changed, but we have kept Count Basie by elevating it to a higher level, so now it is the Count Basie Center for the Arts.
That's wonderful. And how long have you been with them?
So I've been here about 7 years, and when I arrived, I came here about 3 days before Sandy hit. So it was a horrible time, although actually an interesting time to be here and been just arriving and having been part of something that was so devastating. And I think what was really amazing for us as an organization was that we realized this was the moment with new leadership and whatnot to transform how we are thought of in the community. Because I think there was always this feeling that if there's a great show, you'll see it there, which is great. Everybody has a phenomenal memory of a great concert at the Basie or a movie earlier on, the first date. There's great stories, but how could we really be a change agent? How could we be that community change agent? So we did have electricity, so we had constant messages that were up on our board. We had press conferences. We had town hall meetings for schools that had been closed. We did free movies, charging station, warming station. So all these things that we could do to sort of be this community agent. And that's begun really a new trajectory.
Are you from New Jersey? How did you end up here?
Well, so I was born in Englewood,
okay,
and then I was raised in New York, and then I was living out in California. So for quite some time.
Were you working for another theater at that point?
So I built an amazing theater out there as part of Santa Monica College called the Broad Stage, which was a 540-seat theater, and then moved to another theater and helped them really become. I think what I love to do is take a venue, whether it's new or being rebuilt, and just really being able to make it be that community gel and bring a lot of great people together. So I had been recruited, and I was like, Count Basie.
So you came from Santa Monica to
Santa Monica 3 days before the storm hit.
How was your family with that?
Yeah,
the weather's a little different.
Yeah, it was a little. Oh, well, I think somewhere along the way, you'll crack up at this. I read online, I'm from the area, so of course I know. I don't really. I think my memory had served me that winters were a little bit shorter, maybe, and not quite so bad. But somewhere I was looking online, and there was this statistic of probably the average weather is around 80, so I think I told my wife that, so she was sort of expecting a bit to be,
you're in deep.
Wasn't that great? Yeah, I'm still climbing my way out of that one.
so tell me about what happens for those who are watching who maybe have not been to the Basie, but they've heard about it. What kind of programs, what kind of events, what's happening there?
So I mean, there's something happening all the time. We have probably 240 shows a year, and that's either shows that are rentals, like the Nutcracker and some of the real great community partners that we have, and then we present shows. So we have nighttime shows. I mean, that's sort of what happens at night. You have everything from Broadway shows that we bring in to some regional theater that we have in partnership with the Phoenix Theater Company, to jazz programs, major artists, 80s, 90s headliners, live. I mean, we have all kinds of amazing bands that are always coming through that either see the Basie as a stop on a long tour, or sometimes it's just a one night, and that's kind of the energy of what's happening. There's always something going on. And then nights that we're quiet because we don't have a show, if there's not a comedian, then we're showing movies because we restored the projectors, but we also, of course, have digital projectors. So there's always something happening.
So are you in a place now, as the Basie's name gets more and more, are you turning artists away ever? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we have, our calendar has probably 7 holes deep on it. So every time you're trying to get, it's really a puzzle, that we have to, in order to have an artist, there's others that are ahead of them that you have to kind of challenge. It's the whole business. But there's, that's sort of the nighttime, and then there's a whole thing that happens for us really during the day, which is the education work that's happening.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that, the education piece?
Yeah, so we have on site, we have 6 classrooms and more on the way with some of the new building that I'm sure we'll talk about. But there's always something happening. There's Disney Junior plays that are happening, and then perform on the main stage. We do opera camp programs, we do jazz workshops, we have classrooms kind of in 2 sections of our Performing Arts Academy. We have the conservatory, which is anything from classical music to opera to jazz to rock music, and then on the other side is the performing arts, where it's theater and dance.
That's great. Tell me a little about, there's an event you do every year where you have a lot of students come in and you kind of award different schools.
So we do. So we have an annual event called the Basie Awards, which is usually in May, and we have a team that go out to every Monmouth County high school, and they see their dramas, and then they see their musical productions, and we
all the high schools compete?
Most of them are in. I would say that when it started out 16 years ago, there were probably just a handful.
20, 25 schools?
And now it's probably more in the 35 to 40 range.
That's great.
So we go out, we see all these shows, we send 4 people to go see it, so they're all voting for it. And then, like the Tony Awards, we'll do Best Actor, Best Play, Best Musical.
Incredible experience for those kids.
First of all, it has now become something where if you win it, if you're a performer, you certainly wear that as a badge. But the schools, what happened is that we've created a real theatrical supportive community. So people are screaming for each other, whether it's their school or even another school. They're going to see each other's productions, and you create this real kind of community. And then because of that, if you've won, you get to go back, as the theater teacher and go to the administration and say, hey, we could use a little bit more money supporting the theater program. Obviously, usually the sports programs get more supported, and that's begun to build a stronger support for the programs.
Sure, that's great. So, we talked a little bit about the concerts and events happening, the plays, the education. What's next for the Basie? You're doing a massive expansion.
Yeah, so we're in a massive.
What's that going to bring to your programs?
Well, we're kind of becoming a full city block campus. We're really becoming this arts campus where everything can be happening. All audience are able to be included. And if you drive by, you'll see on the east side, so on the Bonacera side, we've got a brand new, beautiful lobby that's coming in with an elevator, new bathrooms, new entertainment spaces, all of which supports your experience when you go to the historic theater. So if you've been to the theater, you know that our lobby's small and there's no elevator, so it just hasn't been fully accessible. So these are all the things that are happening, as well as an outdoor patio. That outdoor patio, which is a little plaza actually, has a stage, and our kids will be able to perform there. So when you come to a show on the historic stage in the Hackensack Meridian Health Theater, you will be able to pre-show, have a drink, and see some of the kids performing or an up-and-coming artist. So there's that complex that's happening, and then in the middle of a new venue that's coming online, we have a new 3-story education building. So to support the growth, because right now we're at our capacity with the classrooms that we have 5 new classrooms, administrative offices, that are all part of this new education building. And then on the other side of that, and sort of part of that building, but on the far west side of this new campus, will be a new venue. So this is really excited about this venue. It seated, you can have about 300 seats, but then when the seats are taken out, there's no permanent seating. You can have standing room up to about 800.
That's great.
So that, for education purposes, that is really something we're so excited about.
So all these pieces come together. It's got to play a big role in the greater Red Bank community. How does this affect the restaurants, the businesses, and the town, and when folks come in? We've
been told from a lot of the restaurateurs that when you're in the restaurant business, you look forward to your Thursday or maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, and that when the Basie's on fire, which we have been, it's like having 5 nights, 5 weekend nights. So everyone, I believe, the economic engine. I mean, we know the actual impact.
Because they're coming in for dinner. There's not just a show, right?
I think people come in earlier.
Or drinks or whatever.
I think if you know that you're coming to spend a few hours, you end up just making a decision to make your trip longer. So you find where you're going to plant yourself for the night, and then there's drinks, and then the show, and then dinner before or after. And we know that people are here for a night.
Yeah. And why do you think it's so important to have this art presence in our community here in Monmouth County?
From the standpoint of the arts, first of all, it definitely promotes tourism for us. I mean, we are the beginning of the Jersey Shore, and so we know that people are coming in, not just. It's very hard to get somebody off the beach, but we know that we're sold out during the summer. So, but it complements that experience for someone, making their weekend even more eventful. That's from the economic standpoint. I think from the art standpoint, theaters that are sort of the epicenter of communities, like that happens in the Basie and in Red Bank. It's you kind of become the pulse of a community. You're doing things that are topical, that make you feel that you're living in a really cool place. I mean, we certainly know that the business community use the Basie as a reason to court business to town, and certainly if you're going to move. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that I know move from New York or wherever, Northern Jersey, and said, when I realized that the Basie is here, I took a deep breath, because I know I'll be able to have my cultural opportunities. So that's what we hear. I think that from the art standpoint and from the economic standpoint, but from the education standpoint, that's an entire other component that's critical to our mission and to our youth.
And all the schools that are benefiting. And all
we have lots of partnership schools, so not just in Red Bank,
nonprofits,
all of which.
So can you tell us a little bit about for folks how they can follow the Basie, what programs you have coming up, and how they can learn more? Do you have a Facebook page, Twitter,
of course,
website?
We're certainly on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Our website is thebasie.org. And there you can sort of like us and get into every other social media avenue that we have. We have a regular Friday email that goes out that tells you every show that's coming, what movies are coming on board, how you can get involved, because there's always ways to support, whether it's membership or sponsorship or partnerships. We're really here to be a connected change agent. We love to collaborate, and we're always working with other people.
Anything big in 2020 coming up? Any comedians?
Oh my God! I mean, we have, the list is huge. We have lots of great bands that are coming, like live, like Tedeschi Trucks. There's pretty much there are theaters that send out brochures, and then they have the whole season, and we don't do that. We send out quarterly calendars, because when we can announce a show, in 3 weeks we can sell that out.
Great. Thank you so much. Adam Philipson, the CEO of the Count Basie Theater. We will be back with Kevin Garrison, founder of the Blessing Bag Brigade. You're watching Made in New Jersey. Thank you.